There's a stretch of road on the outskirts of town that locals won't drive after dark. A winding, cracked piece of asphalt known as Dead Man's Corner. By day, it looks harmless enough. Weeds poke through the broken pavement. The paint on the road has long since faded to ghostly streaks. A single street lamp leans over the intersection, its glass stained yellow with age, buzzing faintly as though trying to stay awake. But at night, the place changes. The shadows stretch too long, the air grows heavier, and the silence presses against your ears until you feel something is listening. They say if you pass through, you might see him. An old man in a wheelchair, sitting perfectly still beneath the lamp, his shoulders hunched, his head bowed, rain dripping from his face like tears. Most drivers claim they speed up, eyes locked on the road ahead, refusing to look, pretending they saw nothing, because if you catch his gaze, if he lifts his head, if he raises that trembling hand and points at you, it means you won't make it home. Ethan had grown up with the legend. It was the kind of story that lived in every town, whispered during sleepovers, passed along at bonfires, retold by older kids to scare the younger ones. Dead Man's Corner, everyone had a version. Some swore they'd seen the wheelchair themselves. Some said their cousin's friend disappeared after slowing down to help. Others claimed the man wasn't a ghost at all, but a living curse, a figure doomed to wait until someone else took his place. But Ethan never believed it. To him, it was just another small-town story, the kind that gave kids goosebumps and adults something to roll their eyes at. That night, he was heading home late from a friend's house on the far side of town. The storm had rolled in fast. Rain poured down in sheets, slashing against the windshield, each drop silver under his headlights. His wipers squealed across the glass, back and forth, like tired lungs struggling for breath. The road was silent, empty. Just the occasional sway of trees bending under the storm, their branches scratching against the wind like skeletal fingers. Ethan yawned, his eyelids heavy. His body begged for bed. But when he rounded the bend into Dead Man's Corner, every trace of sleep vanished. His breath locked in his throat. Because there, illuminated by the sickly glow of the flickering street lamp, sat a figure. An old man, slumped forward in a rusted wheelchair. A blanket clung to his shoulders, soaked through, sagging with the weight of rain. The chair itself looked ancient, its spokes twisted, metal eaten with rust, one wheel slightly turned as if it hadn't rolled in decades. Ethan's first instinct was denial. I'm seeing things. The rain's messing with me. It's just a trick of the light. He let out a short laugh, sharp and nervous. Jesus, they weren't kidding. But then, the man's head twitched upward. Eyes pale as milk glinted in the headlights, two moons reflecting the storm. And with a trembling hand, the figure raised his arm and pointed. Directly at Ethan, a cold shiver surged down Ethan's spine. His foot pressed harder on the gas, tires spraying water as he shot past the intersection. It's just some homeless guy, he told himself, a prank, someone messing with drivers. But no matter how he explained it, unease gnawed at him, sharp as ice water filling his chest. The car radio fizzed, swallowing his music in static. The dashboard lights flickered. For one terrifying second, the engine coughed and slowed, as though invisible fingers had clutched it tight. Not now, Ethan muttered, slapping the radio. The static screamed louder, a garbled mess of voices, until suddenly, silence. He exhaled. The headlights brightened. The engine steadied. Relief loosened his grip on the wheel, until his eyes flicked to the road ahead, and his heart stopped. Because there, at the very next intersection, sat the same old man. Same chair, same blanket, same pale, unblinking eyes, and the same trembling hand, raised and pointing straight at him. Ethan's breath stuttered. That's not possible, he whispered. You can't be here already. He pressed the accelerator until the engine roared. The storm thickened, rain drumming so hard it blurred the world outside into watery streaks. Trees loomed, bending against the wind, their shadows stretching across the slick asphalt. Every bend in the road, every curve of the corner. He was there, the watcher, waiting, pointing. Ethan's panic swelled, his pulse throbbed in his throat, his knuckles were bone white on the wheel. This isn't real. I'm dreaming. I'm tired. I'm tired. But no matter how fast he drove, the old man was always ahead, like the road itself had become a loop, folding him back to the same cursed place. With trembling hands, Ethan snatched up his phone, thumb sliding across the wet screen as he dialed his brother. The call connected, relief rushed through him until he heard the voice on the other end. It wasn't his brother. Through the hiss of static came a whisper, breathless, close. "Don't look at him." The line went dead. Ethan's chest heaved. His breathing came in shallow gasps. He tried to convince himself it was exhaustion, that the storm was playing tricks on his mind. "Almost home," he whispered, voice cracking. "Just keep driving. Don't stop." But then, a thought. Unwanted, cruel, like a hand pushing against the back of his head. Look in the mirror. He fought it. His eyes burned, locked on the road ahead. But his neck twitched, his gaze creeping upward. And there he was. The old man sat in the back seat, still in his wheelchair, rain dripping from his blanket onto the upholstery, soaking the fabric in silence. His head bowed, motionless, until slowly, agonizingly, it lifted. Those pale, lifeless eyes stared into Ethan's reflection. And the hand rose once more, pointing. Ethan's scream drowned beneath the storm. His car swerved violently, tires skidding on the flooded road, headlights blurred. The world became a whirl of glass, metal, and shadows. The last thing Ethan saw before everything folded around him was that finger, never shaking, never faltering, pointing straight at him. Morning came with pale grey skies and the hush of fading rain. Police found Ethan's car wrapped around an oak tree, metal twisted like paper, the windshield shattered, glass glittering on the wet pavement. Long black skid marks told the story of panic, but no other vehicle had been involved. There was only one thing near the crash site, a rusted wheelchair, standing at the corner, empty. And so the story grows, because if you drive that road tonight, under the flickering lamp at Dead Man's Corner, you might see him, the watcher, waiting, always waiting. And if his hand rises, if he points at you, don't slow down, don't breathe, and whatever you do, don't look in the mirror.